So as this day winds down, um, I felt like I'd make a different type of video um, tonight. Spent a lot of time outside today. It was really nice. Just being outside was the temperature, or it's been cold, it's been winter. So it's finally starting to, warm back up. Um, Springtime, it's so nice and so, so much needed, at least in my perspective. So, I just felt really inspired. I just sat down here to relax. I don't typically do videos like this. This week's going to be a little different for me. It's going to be some different things are happening this week in my life. So I probably won't be able to do the videos that I've been doing, like on the Course of Miracles and such, this week, but I'll get back to that next week. I just really wanted to speak about a few things that have been happening, in my world, and just make a video. I enjoy making these videos, and I think they can be really powerful and of service to me, of service to anybody that comes across them. So where do I want to start here? I had a lot of stuff coming in this morning. When I was outside, I almost was tempted to make a video then, but, I really want to save that time, that morning time, for the morning sunlight, some movement, some training, things that I do. I take care of my chickens a little bit, clean up their stuff, and I just didn't want to go in and get my phone and be filming a video, even though I wanted to. I held back and set boundaries, and that's something that actually I could talk about in this video. There's a few things that are on my mind that I hope I'll be able to get out the way that the way I was feeling them this morning. And also I had a great conversation with a friend of mine too. So there's some gold in that conversation I wanted to share. So one big thing that keeps coming up for me in my own life, and also just through the channel and through people I'm ended up getting connected to through that, is boundaries, and how tough it can be to set boundaries in our lives and stick to them, and to not people please. It's massive. This is a massive thing for me that's really coming to the forefront of my life, where I'm like, okay, it's now time to be this adult that has been missing in my life. Be this person, be it, not just know it. Like I talked about that in one of my previous videos about knowing and being. And the Course in Miracles talks about that as well. Somewhere in there, it's having or knowing and being, I think. What a difference there is in that, right? What a difference there is in knowing something and saying, yeah, I know that, and actually being it and doing it. So this is just a different format, really, man. This is I'm kind of winding down. You'll probably sense a different demeanor in me than typically if I'm doing earlier videos. I'm a little bit more hyped up, but I think as I go on and maybe speak about some of this, I probably will get hyped up. That's usually what happens to me. I'm super passionate about bettering my life. And one thing that's just massive is, when we better our own lives, we better everyone's lives, so don't ever think that self-work is selfish. That was just something that popped up in my head just now, but I was talking about boundaries and people pleasing, and where this is showing a lot in my life right now is with my children. So I had a lot of struggles with my son today, just bucking back and not wanting to listen. This has been an ongoing problem, with both my kids, really. And he ended up missing out on some fun that, I had planned for them this evening, a little campfire, a little cookout campfire with the kids. I'm here by myself with them tonight. And, he ended up missing out on all that because of his behavior and the decisions he's making. It has nothing to do with me. I would choose to have fun with him. I would choose to have him at the campfire cookout and all that. He's choosing differently. And, at one point in time in my life, I probably would have blamed myself in a way, or felt guilty, or felt like whatever, but that's really changed in my life. And this is another really important thing. As I step up, as I do my self-work, as I just talk about, as I love myself more, and I do this introspection, and I go deep inside my own stuff, I show up better for other human beings. I show up better for my children. I show up for the next generation, right? So if we one by one do this, right? Do our own self-work, forget about all the distractions, forget about all that stuff going on out there. There's good everywhere if you look for it. I just watched an Ed Millett short on YouTube, and he just talked about that. He said, focus on the good, find the good people, look for the good people. You'll attract what you're looking for. You'll attract your attention. He talks about a part of your brain, I think it's the reticular activating system, where, you know, I don't know that much about it. I've heard it before. I've heard other people speak about it as well, where it's like this part of your brain that what you focus on, and don't quote me here, but I think what you're focusing on most of the time is what you'll get. It's kind of one of those things like what you are, you attract. So the more you do for yourself, the more you're doing for everybody around you, what you're doing for your children, what you're doing for your family, what you're doing for humanity as a whole, the ripple effect that that'll have is the most profound thing that you can do. And this is the thing that you've been taught the least about. If you really ask yourself that question right now, how much were you taught to go? If you're like me, who grew up in the traditional, United States culture, we're taught nothing, next to nothing about that. And there's reasons for that I talk about in other videos. I don't get too much. I mean, there's an either. Actually, I will say this, and then there's another topic I want to talk about, or another thing I'm doing in my life. There's a kind of this like parasitic evil force out there, that I've talked about the darkness, and I've talked about how I've let this into my life, and how I stopped playing victim. It still shows up here now. I mean, this stuff still shows up. Don't get me wrong, but like I'm moving out of victim mode into God mode, into higher self mode, into adult mode, into whatever mode you want to call that, and what name you want to put on that. I'm moving out of that, out of the ego, into higher self, into God, into Creator, into Holy Spirit, into that. I forget what the name was I used in the last video, and the Course of Miracles called it this power. I forget what it was now, but I thought that was funny, because I was like, here's another name that you can use if you want. But so I'm losing my train of thought a little bit where I was going with that. But just moving out of victim mode, moving into adult mode, setting boundaries with my kids. I had to have my son sit one out tonight, because I wouldn't be doing him a service as a father if I continued to let him behave that way and disrespect me and disrespect his mom and just not appreciate these things and show little gratitude and all the things that I'm seeing out of him that's not acceptable. Right? I'd be doing him a disservice as his father by not showing up and saying this isn't acceptable. Because, you know how many times he spoke words to me? I won't do this again. I'm sorry. Yada, yada, yada. Well, there's only so many times you can hear something like that. It's like, you have to be it now. Son, you have to be it now. So, there was that. There was something else. There was another good point I wanted to make, but I'm losing that one. So I'll move on to the other thing that I want to talk about, and it'll probably come up in there. Anything else I want to talk about will probably come up inside this. So this is something I've been wanting to share, and I'll maybe even do a longer video on it as I go along here. But one thing that I've been doing in my life, that I've been doing this kind of experimenting and trial and error, because we really are at the point in this world, and we're at the point in time now where we really need to spend time. We have to spend time with ourselves, and we have to kind of be our own doctor. There's just not really a lot of, at least inside the system, inside your insurance paradigm. You want to pay out of pocket, you might be able to find a few good people to work with out there. But the majority of what's out there as far as doctors is not really going to, for the most part, they're not going to help you. So I've been experimenting with this. Microdosing with psychedelic, microdosing with psilocybin, magic mushrooms. I'm very new to this, so I don't know a ton. I'm going to be getting a book. I want to read more on it. There's plenty of it on YouTube. It's something that I've been doing for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months now. And um, I'm noticing some really amazing things with it. I'm tweaking it. I'm finding the right dose. I'm finding what's working for me. I'm navigating. It's going to bring stuff up. It's going to do all kinds of stuff through the process, I'm sure, which it has. But I'm excited about this. I've never felt um, more connected at times. I never felt more loving. I feel like like I'm saying, what happened tonight, even in the recent kind of past in my life, I would have gave in to those kinds of things with my son. Like I would have just, I don't know if I mentioned this just in the video or not, but like, do you think I don't really want to I don't really want to not have fun with my son. I don't really want that to happen, right? But I got to step up to the plate and set these boundaries with him. And that wouldn't have happened quite the way it's been happening lately, right? So I noticed that, I hope that I can do a good job. And, like I said, it's okay. Whatever comes out of me comes out of me right now. I'll do another video on this if I feel like the need, or if I want to talk about more down the future, which I have a feeling I may want to talk more about this down the road, because I have a feeling it's going to have profound effects. And there's this one key thing in my life that I'm working on, that if I sense that it helped with that, um, you know, I'm really going to be sharing a lot more about it. But my energy levels are way up. Um, you know, I just feel the energy thing's massive for me, because here in my recent, like, I've been working on my physical health for a while now, and here recently, like in my life, there's just so many pieces that keep popping in. There's so many pieces of this to talk about, but my energy levels have just been tanked. They're just not, and then having kids and having to show up in life and everything like that. It's just like, oh, so taking this microdosing, my energy levels are up. I'm able to get stuff done. I'm able to actually go throughout the day and have sustained levels of energy, Um, like I said, I just feel more connected. I was already going in this direction, but I just feel more connected to everything, more loving, more of service. Like, you'll see it in my videos. You'll see what I'm doing here, right? It's helping with all of that. I think the one thing I wanted to make a point of, there was something else too, I think, but the boundary setting thing that I already mentioned, that's massive. Like really standing up for what I know is right. Like, that knowing has been there, right? I know what these things I should be doing. I know I should be doing these things, but I wasn't able to execute them quite as well, Um, I just feel like this microdosing of this psilocybin's been really powerful. And it's so funny, right, that this is considered an illegal substance through the government, through the system. They've made this illegal. That makes me think even harder about this. Um, the last thing they want is people awakening to how things actually work in this world and what they've been up to. So that's that thing that I wanted to talk about. I'm amazed sometimes about how I feel on the days that you actually dose it, because it's not every day. And if you're interested in this, there's plenty of other people to talk to search on YouTube about this, to learn. There's other YouTube. There's people that you just search it, and stuff will come up. There's two guys' names that I guess have been doing this for a really long time that you could get some information from, which is Paul Stamets and James Fattyman. And I laugh a little bit because, there was a joke between me and my partner, Beth. Like, there was a little bit of a joke there, but we like James Fattyman, So anyway, what else did I want to talk about? That might be about it, I guess. I mean, I'm up over 14 minutes already. Time flies when you're talking about something you love, One other thing I guess I'll mention, see if anything else pops in, is I've been talking to a friend of mine, soul brother of mine, really, about wanting to get some type of, I have probably a few other people that would be also, I would think, would be into the idea. I've been wanting to try to get some sort of weekly community call, some sort of call that we can get on, and maybe I'll bring a topic, maybe somebody else will, or whatever. and or we'll cover a Course of Miracles lesson, or we'll cover something, of topic, and I'll maybe be the one that maybe runs it, and there'll be other people helping me, other people there to support me. And then I also want anybody that's coming to this channel, listening, likes what I'm sharing, and wants to be a part of it, come on. And then there can be, some sort of, I don't know how I would structure it, but have some sort of kind of open question and, chat and questions or whatever at some point during it as well. I think that could be extremely powerful. I can't tell you enough. I have this, a friend of mine talk about this all the time, how powerful it can be. We use apps, different apps or whatever, to record messages for one another. And, that way you can record the recording of the message itself is therapeutic, period. Then you have somebody on the other end that you feel safe with and trust, that listens to it. And then they can also give you feedback and reflect if need be. But I think the therapy is simply in leaving of the message. A lot of times you'll find that you'll answer your own questions, in sharing. And it just feels good to release it. Sometimes it's just a release to get it out, to talk about it. So one thing I guess I'll go back to quick before I end is, and it kind of ties into what I referenced about what Ed Millett was talking about, focusing on the good in the world, right? What if we focused on the good? What if, I'm not saying you don't see I'm not saying that you don't see the other stuff. I'm not saying that you don't know that it's there. You don't know that there's some darker forces or evil forces in the world. But I want to say this. It doesn't exist unless you let it in. It can't, evil and darkness can't persist in the light, in someone who, it's like a parasitic force, right? It needs a host. If you don't let it in, if you don't believe it, if you don't give it your energy, if you don't give it your attention, it can't exist. So we have a lot of that going on in the world right now. It's always been there. It's just basically the veil's being lifted now. And I just really wanted to get that, like, focus. What if we if'd into the good? What if we if'd into optimism? What if we if'd into there's good people all around the world? What if we, what if'd into, amazing things are going to happen? I'm this amazing being there's unlimited possibilities for me in this world. I can do anything I want. I can become self-sovereign. I can become completely free of things. I can become independent. I can make my own money. I don't need to have one big thing for me is I could no longer work for someone else. I could no longer work for somebody else's goals. That had to be done. That drove me crazy. I'm like, why am I putting 8+ hours or whatever the heck you're working each day for someone else? That to me is insanity, right? And I know, listen, I had a little bit of an experience tonight where it's like, people have these problems and they have these issues in their lives. And there's so much that goes into all that. There's past trauma. There's generational stuff that gets passed down. It might not even be your stuff that's going on. And sometimes we want to play victim and such and all this stuff. And, it's happening to me and not for me. It's happening for you, for one thing. But I had this little thing happen where there was a message sent to me, and I realized that you can see things so clearly. If you get to a certain place in your life, you can see things a lot more clearly. You're more aware, you're more conscious, you're more present. So you see things and you see the solutions and you can say something to someone. But I realized that in my own life, it's played out the same way as well. You have to take it might just start taking these small steps towards whatever you want, right? Like if you want out of a relationship that feels overbearing, or there's abuse, or there's whatever's going on, or you don't like the job you're working in, or you know, whatever, you name it. Mainly it's usually wrapped around what you do with your time and energy, right? Like who you put yourself around, who you're in relationships with, what you do for a living, where you're putting your energy and attention. Just start to take really micro steps, like the micro dosing that I was talking about. Start taking micro steps towards exiting that relationship, exiting that job, or micro steps toward not even, it doesn't always, my mind always wants to go to, okay, it must be time to leave this. Maybe it's a conversation that needs to be had, right? Maybe it's just, you know, that's it. An open, honest conversation needs to be had with a boss or a partner or, you know, whatever, a relationship, a friend, whatever the case may be. And what's popping in my head also just now is I remember I was sharing in a video last week, and it was one of the lessons in A Course in Miracles, and I was talking about fear. And I gave a pretty terrible example in the video, and I look back when I kind of said it in the video too. I'm like, that's not really a great example. I was talking about fear, and I related it to like being scared of a bug or having, you know, a spite or whatever, being scared of that. That's actually like a tangible thing that's in the world that, you know, is the fear legitimate? Probably not, but it can be, right? Like if it's like a poison, I was talking about like how it's a poisonous spider. Well, just stay away from it, back off. It was a bad example of what I was trying to get to in the video. Those are like real life things. Like if a freaking bear or a lion's chasing you, yeah, man, there's some real fear there, right? But like it's the psychological stuff that the fears, the psychological stuff that's a lot of stuff that we just make up. It's just illusions. It's not real. And the Course in Miracles talks about this all the time. So anyway, when I do these videos, I kind of feel like, I don't know, was there something there that was good? Was there something there that would improve people? You lose, as you move forward and you evolve, you lose track. I lose track of who I used to be, which is an absolute amazing thing. Like, I don't want to be that person anymore, but I also lose track of where I was and how I used to think. And I'm like, is this stuff really going to be impactful for people, right? It's something that I struggle with. And my friend and I were also talking about this as well, where you get to a certain point and, you know, you think what you know, everyone knows. Like, oh, well, I mean, everybody must know that now because you know it, right? Like, I don't know what that would be considered. I don't know what term. I don't know. Somebody that's, you know, a little bit more advanced or like more, you know, like a psychological expert of some sort could help maybe put more on that. But I struggled with this in my life too, where I get to a point where I'm like, well, I would never start making these videos if I stayed in that though. So I'm obviously making progress. So I'm obviously moving forward and saying, I don't really care. I'm sharing anyway, you know, whether somebody knows it or not. And then I was talking about this with my friend and I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like these important things, you know, you can't hear them enough. You know, that's the thing. Like the key things that are, you can't hear these things enough in life, you know, like, I don't know. I can't even give you an example right now, but, I don't know. I wasn't even planning on doing this video. And I thought, you know, I'm going to sit down. I came in, I got the kids settled. I thought, you know, I'm going to make a video here. I'm just going to talk about random stuff that's been going on in my world. And it's been, you know, thoughts I've been having and stuff. And I had a really powerful conversation with a friend of mine earlier. And I thought I'd share some of that. And how these dark forces in the world really do, you know, they're out there, you know, but they don't exist unless you let them, you know, so they'll go away if the world wakes up. They'll go away if one by one we realize this, you know, all the division, we have talking about this too, is all the division in the world, the borders of this, you know, if you think about this stuff a little deeper once, just take some time after this video or re-listen to it or whatever and think about this. You know, the different parties and, you know, the political stuff, the different parties, the division, the different religions, the borders in the world. You think any of that was God? You think any of that was God created? None of it was. None of it was. There is no division. It's open land. It's open space. It's free to, it's all this stuff that's happening has all been man-made stuff. So you tune into God, you tune into the Creator, you tune into what you are. then you'll start to really live. And that's what's been happening in my life. It's just been just amazing. Lots of changes, lots of stuff coming. Just in every phase of my life, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. Those are like the main pillars of your life, of a human. Yeah. So I could go on and talk about this stuff 24/7. This is my passion, and this is where I'm at. And this is why I'm sharing everything that I share, because I care. I have a deep, and this is one thing also though, I know I've been adding on, keep going here, oh well. Everybody's searching. I was talking about this earlier. Everybody's out there searching for stuff, right? You're searching for this. You're searching for, you have the best job. You're searching for, you're searching for things through trying, like people, right? People get used. People, you use people throughout your life, and, we use drugs, or we use alcohol, we use food, or we use something, whatever's in your life, you're using something, and really what you're searching for is really just connection, right? You're searching for that connection to what is. You're searching for that connection to God. You're searching for that connection to creation. That's really what I'm finding. At least I'm just going to share from my perspective. This is what I believe people are searching for, what I've been searching for my whole life. And I'm just super grateful that I am where I am, and my focus is where it is, and my energy is being put where it is now, because it wasn't before all my life. I'm in my 40s now, about to turn 42 next week. And I was very egoic before. I was very much in the ego. And I'm very, very grateful to be more connected to what is. That's all that matters. Everything else will fall into place. I promise you. So I better go. This one's getting up there. Getting close to 30 on this one, 30 minutes. But I thought this would be cool. Do something different. Like I said, I might not be posting that much to the channel this week as much. Maybe I'll just do a couple, shorter ones or something, or shorts, or I don't know. But this will be a little bit of a different week. And I don't know, who knows what'll come of it. Maybe there'll be something great that comes of it. And also, if you're watching this and you get to this part of the video, if you are interested in like a community call of some sort, of service call, like just a call that we can just get on as humans in a safe, loving space to grow and evolve. And, if that's something you're interested in, reach out to me. I don't know. I guess you can find my email address on the channel somewhere if you want to do it privately, or comment, like, subscribe the channel. We are the miracle. At the core of it all, I believe we're unconditional love. It's all we are. It's all we're searching for. We want to be believed in. We want to be loved unconditionally. And I'm striving to be that. I'm striving to give that to my children. I want the best thing that I can do is become that and give that to them. They're the next generation. They're going to be here after I'm, gone, after I've transitioned on to, pure bliss, in my opinion. So we are the miracle. I mentioned unconditional love, and heaven on earth is here. Like, we just have to clear it all away. Clear away the dark clouds. Clear away the evil. Let go of it. Stop paying attention to it. Stop giving it your energy. It's like a parasite, It's really what it is. It's like, it needs a host. Stop being the host. So, until next time.